Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell Wednesday night Dynamite recap. And of course, I am KG, and I have my host, the wrestling enthusiast, Mark. What's going on, my man?
Not much, brother. Not much.
So let's get started. Start with some news. So Vince McMahon is dealing with another lawsuit. This lawsuit comes from 5 former WWE ring boys who have sued McMahon, his wife Linda, WWE, and TKO, accusing former WWE ring announcer Mel Phillips of sexually abusing them and the McMahons and WWE of being aware of the abuse and doing nothing to stop it. Now, what confuses me about this is why are they suing TKO? This was way before TKO ever owned it. So,
My guess, bigger pockets.
possibly, as allegations date all the way back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Wrestling Observer newsletters, Dave Meltzer is all too familiar with the situation. He covered the accusations of former ring boy Tom Cole on his latest Wrestling Observer Radio. Meltzer gave his thoughts on the lawsuit, which he says was made possible by Maryland ending a ending a law that ended the statute of limitation in the state, enabling the ring boys to file a lawsuit. After going through some of the acts Philip was accused of, Meltzer stated his view that WWE had at least some knowledge of Phillips' acts at the time, something echoed by WWE's firing of Phillips in the late 80s, only to bring him back on the conditions that he stays away from children. I mean, if you hire someone and then you say, you got to stay away from kids, maybe you shouldn't be fucking hiring that person, especially in this industry. In regards to the trial, Meltzer strongly believes that the case will never make it to court and that a settlement will be reached. The only question, of course, is how much the settlement is going to cost. And no information as of yet was provided on the matter when the lawsuit was filed yesterday. At this time, Linda McMahon, WWE, and TKO have yet to comment on the situation, while of course McMahon issued a denial through his attorney shortly after the lawsuit came to light. Next news story is we have a big breakup. AEW star Adam Cole has confirmed he and Britt Baker have split up. The former couple had become the subject of rumors and speculation earlier this year, with it being suggested that the pair had split up after Cole said he had moved back to Pennsylvania. We are no longer a couple, but when I say that we both still love each other and are still friends and are still so supportive of each other, that could not be more true, said Cole. He also went on to say that he thinks the world of Britt. And he said that I want her to be as happy and successful as humanly possible. And I know she feels the exact same way about me. We did decide to go our separate ways, but that doesn't mean that she will not be incredibly important part in my life. Now, I don't know if you all see the picture of Britt Baker and MJF flipping off. I'm assuming Adam Cole, but that was pretty funny. But real quick, let me finish this. Britt is absolutely one of my best friends. She's someone that I love dearly and will always love dearly, and there's no ill will between me and her whatsoever. This is a fresh breakup. We'll see what happens later on between these two, if they will actually remain best friends. There's an injury from AEW. Hologram has gotten off. He got off the Citizens stunt. I'm sorry. Hologram getting off to a sizzling start would be like saying the Boston Celtics are from a formidable basketball team. Since arriving in AEW in July, the Luchador has gone undefeated in 13 matches. I don't know why, but his most recent match was the 2 out of 3 falls against Beast Mortis at AEW Wrestling Dream. Unfortunately, that was also the match that appears to have put Hologram on the shelf for the next little while. In a video posted on Facebook by Chicago Lucha Libre Promotion, Galley, Hologram, as his alter ego Aramis, revealed that he would be unable to compete at Galley's upcoming event this weekend due to suffering an injury. Shortly after, Lucha Blog confirmed on X that Hologram was injured near the end of his Wrestle Dream match with Mortis, and that the injury was severe enough that the luchador will be out of action until after AEW Full Gear, which takes place November 23rd. It is likely that Hologram will continue his feud with LFI when he comes back, as the stable has been a thorn, of course, in his side since they attacked him back at AEW Collision Grand Slam in September. And finally, an update on Luchasaurus, which isn't that great. AEW star Luchasaurus, now known as Killswitch, is battling severe health complications stemming from pneumonia in both lungs, and his in-ring return remains uncertain. While there was initial optimism surrounding his recovery, recent updates from Fightful Select indicates that setbacks have complicated his path back to the ring. In the latest installment of Fightful Select Q&A podcast, Sean Rossap, love the guy, provided further insight into the AEW star condition. According to Sapp, Luchasaurus is still on oxygen support and nowhere near ready to begin physical training. Medical professionals reportedly believed he will eventually be able to return to the ring, but for now, rebuilding his physical strength and stability is a top priority. He's going to be on oxygen for a number of weeks, Sapp added, suggesting that his recovery will be gradual and closely monitored. Finding out that, he is on oxygen still, it's not great news, but the doctors seem to think that he's going to be able to make a comeback. I guess we will see. The important thing is that Luchasaurus Killswitch gets better, and here at Ring the Down Bell, we wish him all of the luck. So let's get to AEW Dynamite, which I thought was the drizzling shits for the most part. Couple of good things on there, but holy fuck, I felt like I was rewatching Raw from 2 weeks ago. It was just boring.
All right, so AEW comes out of Salt Lake City. It opens up with a vignette with John Moxley, a recap of last week. The whole Moxley segment was just nonsense to me.
Yeah.
Half the locker room was waiting for the BBC outside. Then we go to a recap of Hangman interviewing.
Yep. So hold on one second, Bart.
Yep.
I want to. So the opening of AEW with them waiting for the BCC. First off, the group of guys that they had out there, for the most part, were a bunch of guys who hasn't had the best 2024 career, right? It was nonsense, as you said. And this is also what doesn't make sense to me, because it seems like to me that they are very much trying to copy the whole NWO thing, because we've seen this exact same segment on WCW on Nitro back when NWO was hot. But this is the issue for me, right? NWO were guys who came directly from WWF at the time, WWE now. And it was kind of believable. It was easy to suspend your disbelief when you're seeing these guys saying, WWE, WWF, whatever, sent them there, right? The problem with this, with the BCC and all the shit that they're doing with attacking all of AEW's talent is John Moxley has been there for 5 fucking years. Why all of a sudden now does he have a problem with AEW? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. And at first I was really intrigued there, you know, a couple of weeks ago, the way their pay-per-view ended, I was like interested in it. I am now starting to lose interest in this shit because there's nothing that is happening to keep me invested, right? So basically, it's just going to be the same BCC fighting AEW guys, which will be happening anyway, right? So yeah, I'm just not I'm not really invested in this shit anymore, and it's starting to be dumb. This is why I gave last night's episode, being generous, a C. What are your thoughts on the opening and this whole thing happening?
You know, I could see remnants of the whole NWO thing, but you got to keep in mind that, you know, some of our viewers weren't even around or can't even remember that NWO. You know, I mean, anybody that's less than 30 might not even remember the whole NWO thing. All right. So what's old to us is new to them. All right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I get that, but you're still dealing with, you know, you've been here for 5 years, Moxley. Why all of a sudden now? And they're not doing anything to kind of explain this. And then the guys that are out there, again, who would give a fuck about any of these guys that's out there? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, it gets down to numbers versus numbers. And talking 15, 20 guys versus what, 4?
Yeah, yeah. Now, it was reported that Edge is coming back soon, and he's not coming by himself, because with him is Darby Allin. Really? Are you fucking kidding me? Don't get me wrong. Darby Allin he's great. He's crazy. He'll do stupid shit, and it's somewhat entertaining. But to try to get the fans excited about Edge coming back, not by himself, Darby Allin, I don't know, man. I think that, you know, if they're going to make this type of announcement, it should be someone that the fans are saying holy shit about. Like, holy shit, he's coming to AEW.
Yeah, and I think you might see that in the following weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I always try to keep an open mind. I suspend my disbelief, or whatever you want to call it, and you know, I kind of revert to a 15-year-old kid and just, you know, enjoy it for what it is. I don't really try to nitpick it too much. I mean, yeah, there's some things that kind of get to me, but you know, I don't lose my shit over too much.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's hard not to, especially now that we're doing this podcast, right? Where we're doing this podcast recap to kind of nitpick, and you know, I don't know. It just I guess it kind of bugs me. It bugs me in the sense of I wanted to stay invested in the storyline, and they're starting to lose me. You know, that's what bugs me. So, okay, next to the next.
Okay, so recap of Hangman interviewing interfering with Christian Cage match versus Jay White. You know, to be honest, I forgot about that match altogether. Hangman comes to the ring, interview with Tony Schiavone. Colton Gunn attacks Page. Page gets the advantage. Juice and Jay run out. Jay gets on the mic and taunts Hangman.
Yeah, so this is what bothered me about this. Juice Robinson and the Colton Gunn and their
Jay
other
White.
guy, Jay White, they're supposed to be the baby faces, right? Hangman is supposed to be the bad guy. But this whole thing was booked opposite. One, Hangman was attacked from behind. Secondly, when Jay White and Juice Robinson came out, look what happened. They surrounded the ring, right, where Hangman standing by himself with his belt off, trying to keep them from coming in. That is a whole babyface thing. the baby face is normally in the fucking ring getting surrounded by the freaking heels, right? With a belt or chair, keeping them from coming in because of the numbers game. I don't understand this. I really don't. I
Yeah,
love the whole. Go ahead.
I don't understand where they're going with Hangman and Adam Page. I really don't. And when I first saw him, 6 years ago, 7 years ago in Ring of Honor, I really wasn't impressed. All right, he kind of grew on me in AEW, but at this point, I'm kind of at a quandary of what are you doing with Adam Page? I think he's a talent. I just don't think he's being utilized right. I hate to say it, I really do, but I think he's a main event um, caliber, and it kind of defies everything I say in the past because um he doesn't have that size and that style about him, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree about the main event thing because look, when you think of matches like Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, right? Fucking phenomenal. I
Yeah,
mean,
plus
phenomenal, right? Um, and nothing against Jay White and the Guns and Juice Robinson. I like the guys, but again, who am I supposed to be cheering for? Because on the one hand, they have Hangman absolutely booking him as a fucking heel, but they're not putting him in the position of being the heel. They're putting him in that spot of being a baby face, and then the actual baby faces being heels, like I was talking about. It's just confusing. It doesn't make sense to me. And on top of it, what is the issue that Hangman and Jay White really have, right? It just kind of started out the blue. This is typical AEW failing with storylines. And I want them to do better. And again, I want Hangman back in that main event spot. So
yeah, I'm at a mix with the Gun Club because Jay White is kind of to me. Juice I like in kind of almost an R Truth sense, where I think he's more of a comic relief. Um, Owen's brother, I could take him or leave him. I think they're a talent, but I just don't think they're being utilized right. My other question is, how come you can't get all four of them in the ring together? Because you never see all four of them in the last 6 months in the ring together. One of them's always missing. It was
yeah.
Jay White, it was Juice, and now it's one of the gun boys.
Mark,
So
keep on talking about the segment for a second. Give me 10 seconds.
okay, thanks for putting me on the spot, buddy. Um, I guess we'll go right into the next one. First match was Sammy Guevara. Sammy speaking on giving it his all. Then pants to Shelton Benjamin and MVP. Um, pardon me. Um, it was Sammy versus Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin a power slam, and I thought it was a pretty weak power slam at that.
Look, I Shelton Benjamin and Sammy Guerrera.
No,
Um, was that?
Guevara.
Yeah, Guevara. Sorry, Guevara. I love this match. I think Shelton Benjamin looked better this week than what he did in his debut match. I really do. Benjamin, he looked strong. He looked like a badass. I mean, that spot when Sammy was coming off the fucking top rope and Benjamin freaking kicked him in the face. I mean, look, I don't know if he really made contact or not, but it sure the fuck it looked like it. And I mean, that spot was just holy shit. It showed Benjamin's power with the suplexes. I mean, this was almost a squash match, which I'm surprised about because he was facing Sammy, right? But hey, I'm not complaining about it. I thought this match was absolutely great. And if they're going to book Shelton Benjamin as this badass, right? These are the type of matches he needs to be having right now. I think him facing Swerve next week is way too fucking soon. They should be continuously building Benjamin as this badass before he gets into the ring with Swerve Strickland. My opinion.
I think the only reason, and I don't see this happening, the only reason why I'd have him booked so quick is if they're looking to greenlight him into be a main eventer, and I don't see that. You know,
No,
because I think Shelton Benjamin should be a world champion. I really do. You know,
I do.
regardless.
Yeah, I do too, Mark. And I think this is one of AEW's big problems that they're having. They start the storyline and they jump 10 paces ahead, right? Instead of building on that storyline. Slow burn it. Let it build. Stop fucking rushing. Because they have the opportunity to make Shelton Benjamin look like the type of monster that Brock Lesnar was, right? They really do. Instead of rushing this shit, because you cannot tell me that they're going to let Shelton Benjamin just kick the shit out of Swerve next week. It's not going to happen. I'm not saying Shelton's not going to win, but I'm saying that Swerve is going to have a lot of offense as well. And it's just way too soon.
Now, this could be a setup for Swerve to turn too and join MVP.
Once again, if that happens next week, I'm going to get pissed. Build the fucking story up, especially since he just said that Prince Nana was family a week ago.
Well, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So give us a reason why all of a sudden he's going to turn on his family.
Well, it's simple. The average fan has the attention span of a tsetse fly. You know,
I disagree, Mark, because a lot of the fans right now, that's what they're bitching about, is the fact that AEW storylines happen like this. Without a rhyme or reason, they start it and they finish it so quickly.
Yeah, I'll give you that. You know, but I think wrestling as a whole, you know, your whole vendettas against each other are wrapped up quick. I mean, you're talking 4-6 weeks tops. I mean, it's very rare you'll see the same two guys back to back pay-per-views, you know.
Right. What normally happens is after whatever pay-per-view happens, they start the very next storyline with their guys, and it goes 4 to 6 weeks. Like you said, this is not happening with Tony Khan. Tony Khan is starting things and letting them go for a couple of weeks. Then you get the payoff. And that's just way too quick for someone to care, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not going to argue. I mean, you know, I remember seeing guys having feuds for 3-6 months.
oh yeah, dude. Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat,
Yep.
right? Very, very long. The Stone Cold Steve Austin with Brian Pillman, very long storyline. One of the best storylines, by the way, in the history of wrestling. The whole scene with Brian Pillman at his house with Stone Cold trying to come in and Brian pulling that gun. No one expected that to happen, even WWE. They're like, what the fuck? But it worked. It showed Brian Pillman being in that character of crazy Brian Pillman, right? Being sincerely worried about his family with Stone Cold Steve Austin. See, that's what I'm saying. They added and added and added fuel to these storylines each and every week. And when that match finally came, you're excited because here is the payoff that's about to happen.
Right.
AEW is not doing this.
You know, on a side note, did you see Brian Pillman's son made a pitch for his dad to be in WWE or Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, you know what? Brian deserves it. I really do.
Absolutely.
You know, Brian was one of a kind character. And I liked him in WCW. I liked him even more in WWE.
Brian was such a great talent that WWE didn't know if Brian was just being kayfabe with his crazy persona with, that when he was leaving WCW, or if that's what he really was. They didn't fucking know because Brian Pillman was just that good. His son, when he went to AEW, his son has so much talent, but that's another talent that AEW just shit away.
Yep. And where's his partner now? You haven't seen him since.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. All right. And speaking of which, Brian Pillman, real quick, you got to be a legitimate talent for them to utilize you with a bum leg every week. Brian had a bum leg for what, 6 months? And they used him almost every week. Didn't wrestle, didn't do nothing but get on a mic. You know what? Right. If you can get TV time with just mic time, you're a talent.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So, anyways, let's see. Then we go backstage. Renee interviewing Mariah May. Anna Jay jumps May. Daniel Christopher separates them. Not much to say about that. Then we go to a clip of Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I think that. Go ahead.
No, hold on. Go ahead.
I think that led to the segment with Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher in the ring, where Kyle Fletcher shaved his head to prove that he doesn't look like Kenny Omega. He's nothing like Kenny Omega. And I love this. Not just because he shaved his head, but because of the fucking intensity that Kyle Fletcher had. It really showed that his character did not want to be compared to anything like Will Ospreay. And you can almost even sympathize with the guy saying, hey, he wants his own career, his own fucking career. He is his own man. He's not Will Ospreay. Great segment.
You know what? Real quick on a side note there, if you look at Kyle Fletcher, you can't tell me he didn't look a little bit like Lex Luger. Go back and watch it.
I have to watch that.
When he's shaving his head, he did a pose with his arms out and his head up a little bit. I'm like, God damn, he looks like a little bit like Lex Luger. Now, yeah. Kyle Fletcher is a talent. That guy puts on 15 pounds. He's a definite contender.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's a contender now because he's really, really good. I know everyone has a hard on for Will Ospreay, including myself. I love Will Ospreay, but Kyle Fletcher to me is almost just as good as Will Ospreay.
Yep. Let's see. The crowd didn't agree with Fletcher though. They were telling him to shut the F up.
Well, of course, and that's something else. When the crowd is that loud, we're saying wrap it up, shut the fuck up, booing you, chanting Will Ospreay's name. As a heel, that's what you want. You have them now invested. Because if they wasn't invested, they'd be sitting there quiet, not giving a shit.
Right. Yep. No, you almost can't buy heat like that.
Right.
All right. So then next we come back to a clip of, and I'm going to say his name wrong, Takasada defending his belt on Maple Pro Wrestling in Canada, which was odd because Josh something or another from TNA was on the same program. Then Ricochet shows up backstage with Renee saying he will go anywhere. Oh, because Ricochet showed up in Maple Leaf promotion.
Yes.
All right. He'll go anywhere, ask him to show up. Oh, asked what the hell's his name again? Takasada to show up on Rampage. MVP comes out asking for a clean slate with Ricochet.
Right. Yep. So let's go back to Ricochet. Takasawa is Don Callis, and I love this guy. I he's tall, he has a good build to him. I hope they keep the title on him for quite a while. Now, Ricochet, I didn't know how I felt about him going from WWE to AEW, but so far I have liked what they've done with Ricochet. And I have a feeling that he's going to end up joining the Hurt Locker because when MVP gave him that card, you kind of seen, he kind of looked interested. So I really hope that Ricochet does join MVP and Shelton Benjamin, because I think that those three guys, and then once you add once you add what's the other guy, bald head, black guy,
Shelton Benjamin.
No. He's not showed up at AEW yet. He was in the Hurt Locker. Big old guy.
I can't think. Sorry.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. I'll tell you in a second. But I think once he shows up, that this is going to be really, really good.
You're not talking about Cedric, are you?
No, hold on. It was the really, there's a fucking movie called The Hurt Business, not the Hurt Locker. It was The Hurt Business. And Bobby Lashley.
Oh, yeah.
I think once Bobby Lashley comes, if it's Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, Ricochet, and once Swerve joins them, holy shit, that could be the best faction that is in AEW.
That's your Black Four Horsemen right there.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt, man. You can forget about the BBC. These guys will tear it up and knock it out if utilized right.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Absolutely. Tony Khan has absolute gold at his fingertips, right? All he has to do is get the fuck out the way and let people who know what they're doing in professional wrestling be creative and get all of this people together. And I'm telling you, they could be the game changer in AEW because it's not going to be BCC.
No, it's not. So, all right. So next we go to the ring with Brian Cage and Lance Archer versus a poor version of the War Raiders. The best way I could put it, because they were big guys. I'm not going to take it away. They were big guys, but man,
this was terrible.
This looked like, this was a poor version of the War Raiders.
Terrible.
Make short work. Yeah, I mean, that's all you could say. They made short work out.
The good news is that hopefully Brian Cage is going to get used correctly and not be a fucking enhanced talent, because I know he holds the belt, but every time you see the guy on AEW Dynamite or their Friday night show or their Saturday show, he's usually losing, right? If he's not in an ROH show. Brian Cage, for the size that he is, my God, can he go? And I really hope him being with Don Callis is actually a sign that they're going to give him the push that he deserves.
I think everybody in Don Callis' group is getting a decent push. So
yeah.
So I look forward to big things with Brian. To me, Brian's like the ultimate warrior, of this day and age.
Except he can wrestle.
Right, except he can wrestle. He's definitely got the Scott Steiner size as Big Papa Pump. Maybe not quite as big, but he can definitely use the same skill set that Scott did easily. And I don't know if he has a collegiate background or not, but he can go for his size and whatnot.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
looked good.
So, anyways, then we go back outside. You see Orange Cassidy, and also you see Chuck Taylor, who is retired from wrestling for right now, due to a neck injury. They have some words and doesn't really add up to much really. Just you see
Well,
what's going on.
but let me stop you there. I disagree because he kind of gave Orange Cassidy an ass chewing in a nice way by saying, "You gotta fucking step up." I love Orange Cassidy. I think his gimmick is cool as shit, but you can only take so much of that gimmick. I hope that we start to see a different side of Orange Cassidy. And as far as Chuck Taylor goes, the fact that they got him in the ring and they did that spot with him with that chair, I'm hoping that that's a sign that Chuck Taylor is going to make a comeback. And look, don't get me wrong. Do I think Chuck Taylor is this amazing wrestler? I don't. But as a professional wrestling fan, I hate to see any professional wrestler um, injured to the point that their career has to end right after they actually finally made it, right? So if this is a sign that Chuck Taylor's actually going to be able to come back to wrestle, kudos for him.
Right, exactly. So that brings to mind what happened to Trent. Is he on injury list?
Trent Beretta has been off TV for a while. You know, we turned heel, and that's another missed opportunity because I don't like Trent Beretta in the whole best friends thing because Trent Beretta was obviously the better of them. And he's a great heel. Why he's off TV, I don't know. That's something I'm actually going to look into. And on our next podcast, and remind me about this, I'll see if I can come up with some type of an update with about Trent Beretta.
I think he's on injury list. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, maybe.
So and he was with Don Callis too. So
Yeah.
you know, and at this point, Don Callis, if he takes on any more bodies, he might be too big for his own britches. You
Right.
know, I think anything more than four guys is too much, but that's just me.
I
All
agree
right,
with that.
let's see. All right, then we go to Chris Jericho versus Mark Briscoe ladder match. But this wasn't a bad match. Nothing great, nothing spectacular. It could have
You're
been better, but it could have been a whole lot worse.
right.
Pretty much up with Big Bill getting involved. Big Bill carries Chris Jericho on his shoulders up to the belt for Chris to grab the belt, and Chris is now the new Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yes. And that's why I was shaking my head because the match was entertaining. I would take away anything from that match. It's the outcome that annoyed me. Jericho at this point should not be carrying a belt, not even an ROH belt, in my opinion. He should just be putting people over because why?
Well, you're right. He should be putting people over, but in the same token, you don't want to see Chris Jericho week after week after week just jobbing to everybody either. You know,
I kind
um,
of do though.
Chris at this point he'll carry that belt for a little bit, and then he'll lose it to somebody to elevate their career. I don't think it's going to go back on Mark. It might, but I don't think it will. I think it was a goodwill gesture to his brother. You
Yeah.
know, so I think Mark's made the most of the situation with his brother passing. But it's at the point now where okay, his brother's has passed away almost a year now. All right, it's time to move on and let
But
Mark
this
take
is the thing, Mark. This is the thing. Because of the storyline where Briscoe was so pissed off and outraged because of Jericho putting his brother's name in his mouth. Um, and with Chris Jericho taking the title off of Briscoe, there has to be some type of a payoff for Briscoe. So at some point, he's going to have to beat Jericho and get the belt back for there to be a payoff to this.
Yeah, and then at the end you see Tommy Hiroshiro come out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and this guy's just a pit bull in human form. You know,
Yeah, but again, this guy is a legend in his own right, and he's jobbed out. I'm not saying that he's not at the point of his career that he shouldn't be putting people over, but at the same time, I don't want to see him as a complete enhanced talent, because that means anytime he is getting into the ring with a top star, we know what's going to happen then. We know what's going to happen. So why should I
right,
care?
right. No, I think this guy, like I said, is a pit bull in human form, you know, and I like to see him drop people like a bad habit, to be honest. I really do.
Yeah.
But he's at that stage where he should probably, be putting some people over too, you know. So I don't know. But I do enjoy him and Chris's matches because
Yeah.
I think Chris kind of lets go a little bit and he throws some stiffer stuff, because these guys from Japan, they don't mind throwing some stiff stuff.
Well, and Jericho, Kim and Jericho actually has history together,
Yep.
quite a bit of history. So I think they know each other in the ring really well, which makes them great dancing partners, if you will. So I think that's why they have really good matches together.
Yep. All right. Then we go to a vignette with Chris Starlander versus Camille
Yeah. Yeah.
next
Don't
week.
care.
Yep.
Don't
Yep.
care.
Then we go to Adam Cole comes to the ring. Shortly there, the Undisputed Kingdom comes out. Roderick says he wants MJF. MJ shows up on the screen, says whoever can get 3 pins will face him um, at next. Now, with this, MJF's going to screw these guys because it's going to be 3 pins against any of them 3 or 4 guys. That's how that's going to go. You
This
watch.
this is this is the problem, Mark. There's a couple of problems. When Adam Copeland came out, there was a pop. When Undisputed came out and they started talking like they were reuniting, but as faces, the crowd went silent. They don't give a fuck about these guys. They only care about Adam Cole. But even with Adam Cole, it was silence. Then let's move on to MJF with his 3 wins bullshit that he's doing. They just fucking did this a couple of years ago with MJF and Chris Jericho, right?
Right. You're right.
It's
You're
like,
right.
stop repeating the fucking storylines. Be original, or at least as original as you can, because I get wrestling's been on for almost 100 years, so I get it. It's hard to be original with storylines at this point, but don't use the same storyline that your fucking company just used a couple of years ago.
Right. But did you miss where I said MJF's probably going to come out next week and say, yeah, you got to win your next 3 matches, but you got to win it against one of the other 3. So whoever can pin, one of or all 3 of their 3 buddies will face MGF. All right. Now,
But
while hold on, while that's not an original idea, the twist on it is kind of because how far are you willing to go to get a match with MGF? Are you willing to screw your buddy? All right, that could develop into a whole different storyline. So,
right,
so there's a possibility here of it being something decent. And Tony Khan, if you're not paying attention, here's a solid idea for you.
this is the problem with this, Mark. Problem with this is there's not going to be any, oh my gosh, who's going to win? We know fucking Adam Cole is going to get over, because ultimately all of this is about Adam Cole and MJF, right?
You know, you could be right on that, but I wouldn't put off Roderick Strong sneaking in a win, and actually beating Adam Cole out of it, and get Adam Cole and MJF getting pushed back. That would be build up a slow burn.
Right. But this whole thing doesn't make sense, because we seen right before Adam Cole left because of an injury, him and the Undisputed were the Devils, right? And then all of a sudden, the Undisputed Era with Adam Cole, they're now baby faces. No explanation. I get Adam Cole said that he had to resort to blah, blah, blah in order to deal with MJF. But at the same time, I think bringing in Undisputed Era is just fucking dumb, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Love Adam Cole. I was good with him coming back, even though I did not like him coming back as a baby face. I thought we should have seen the turn from heel to baby face, but cool, whatever. Him and MJF in the storyline, you can't go wrong. They're both great in the mics. They do well in the ring together. But now adding the Undisputed Era, again, go back and watch the crowd reaction. It was
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. See, now Roderick Strong, I see some value in him, but Matt Taven and Mike Bennett,
Mike Bennett.
I'm sorry, Taven, he's good on the mic, but I just can't buy anything he sells. And
Right.
Mike Bennett, the best thing on him is his wife, and she ain't there. All right. Mike Bennett just does absolutely nothing for me. Is he a talent? Yeah, he's a talent. But these guys don't get to showcase their talent like they should. All right, and
No,
that's the
Mike
biggest.
is a talent, but you know what? He's an enhanced talent. That's what he should be, an enhanced talent. Sorry. Don't see any value in him.
These guys all think they're big fish in a little pond, and it's just the opposite. You they don't have as much stroke as they think they do. But they're getting camera time that other people aren't getting too. You know.
Right.
All right, so let's see. Then we go to Penelope Ford explaining why she is after Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter calls her out for a match in 2 weeks. I didn't realize Penelope Ford was out with an injury. I just out, and really they should really play on her if they're still married. Her and Kip Saban.
Saban,
Yep.
yeah. Yep.
Then we go to a trios match because there really isn't much to say about that. I like Jamie Hayter. I think Penelope Ford is a good opponent for her. I think Penelope Ford probably needs to be spotlighted a little bit more than what she has. But if she was on the injury list, then I can understand that.
The women's division in AEW is terrible. Not because they don't have great women athletes who can wrestle. They do. It, again, is all Creative's fault. They've not done anything to make me care about that division. And that is a huge injustice to the women of AEW.
Oh, shit. You there?
Yeah,
Oh, I think I lost myself here.
I can see you and I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good because I can't see anything now. But all right. Anyways, then we go to a trios match House of Black against a bunch of no names. I've never even seen them. So it was a quick work of that. Buddy calls out Adam Cole for next week.
And again, Adam Cole was like, "Why do you have a problem with me? What's up?" He, he laughs. What's his face? Laughs. Buddy Matthews laughs, walks away. There's no substance, right? Why should I care? If they're going to start a storyline between Adam Cole and Buddy Matthews, then it should be something like that Buddy Matthews got involved in a match somehow, some way, hurt Adam Cole, and have a reason why.
Yeah.
There's no substance in this. So it's gonna be a great match. I think it's gonna be a good match, but I want to know why. So hopefully they'll give us a why next week.
Well, the thing is, and I touch on this briefly, is I think as a whole, you really don't get to see a lot of these guys showcase what actual talent they have. Let these guys get some creativeness in their matches. Because there's a lot of talent between WWE, AEW, TNA, whatever. But they're just stagnant on what they're allowed to do.
Right.
So all right. So anyways, we go to Camille versus Queen Aminata with Monet coming out.
Don't care.
You know what? Actually, it was nice to see Queen Aminata pull off a
whip. Especially, yeah. It was a good match, but again, no substance, no real substance for it.
Okay, so then we have Chris Starlander come out to ring. She goes toe to toe with Camille, and then Monet hits her from behind with a belt, and Chris didn't even flinch. Now, I don't know how many times I've seen somebody get hit with a belt and they drop to the ground like a bad habit. So for Chris not to flinch, you know, I'm sorry. The belt's there, they're heavy enough. You get enough force behind you. I don't know if you knock somebody out, but you probably knock them down. But I guess they're trying to build her up as some monster. All right, then a small fight breaks out. Chris gets up her hand briefly, and then the numbers get her, and Chris ends up being on the ground. All right. So there isn't much to say there. I'm looking forward to seeing these two go at it because it's kind of like, to a lesser degree, Rhea versus Raquel. You know, you
Right.
get biggest girls, in the locker room, going to go toe to toe, but it just doesn't have the same flavor that Raquel and Rhea do.
Right. Well, hey, this is the problem too, though. To go back to when Stanlander came back, she was a whole heel for 2 months, and then all of a sudden, she's back as a babyface, no rhyme or reason, and on top of it, they're building, basically branding her as this badass. You see what I'm saying? It's just they are failing when it comes to this shit.
Yeah, what happened to Stokely with her? Yeah, yeah. You see Stokely standing out there, begging for change at this point. All right, so then we go outside with wrestlers waiting for BBC. Christian Cage rolls up, gets out with Christian. Shortly afterwards, Christian's chasing Kip Saban to the ring. Hook comes out, drops Nick Gage, and goes after Christian.
Christian.
Kip low blows Hook. Um, then they take Hook out. All four
Yep.
leave. All four of them leave. So it looks
Yep.
like Kip's gonna fill a
Sorry.
spot in Christian's faction. Which, you know
Yeah.
what? I like Kip Saban. I don't know why, but I do.
Well, that's what I say. At first with this whole Hook thing, and Hook's terrible on the mic. Um, he's young. Hopefully, he'll get better on the mic. In the ring, I'm still trying to figure out if I like him or not in the ring. But this whole storyline with Taz, someone jumping him. At first, I was like, "Oh, like this is going to be terrible." But then with the whole Christian Cage thing, look, this may not be that bad. And on top of it, Kip Saban, man, Kip is phenomenal. And he has just been booked so badly on AEW. I'm actually excited to see him with Christian Cage because this guy can go in the ring. He can. He is very, very underrated. He really is. So I hope that this puts him in the spotlight, and I hope this is going to lead to great things for him.
Yep, yep. No, I can't agree more. I think Kip Saban is an underutilized talent. I understand he had some personal issues with his father passing away, but even before that, he was very sparsely used. When they
Right.
first burst the scene, he was used quite a bit because they had 1/5 of the talent they got now.
Right, right. Well, the whole thing with him and the audience with the paper bag and shit like that, I'm like, come on, really? So I'm glad that that's done with, and it looks like they're gonna, book him more seriously.
I kind of got a chuckle out of that. I'm not going to sit there and say different, but was it memorable? No, because I forgot about it until you just said it. So, all right. So then we go to the main event trio match, Private Party with Daniel Garcia versus Young Bucks and Jack Perry. This match started out kind of wild, but then they got back into the form, I guess. Nothing really spectacular. I'm not a fan of the Bucks, and I'll say the Bucks because they're not young anymore. Jack Perry, there's something about Jack Perry I like. I don't know what it is. I really think they should rename the TNT belt just a TV title because that's
I
essentially
agree.
what And God damn it, I missed the television title.
Yeah.
Anyways, Private Party and Garcia got the win, which kind of surprised me. Then they challenged the Bucks for another world title match with the stipulation that if they lose, Private Party will break up. So now
And I like that. I like that because I want the private party to break up because as individual wrestlers, they are both great. As a tag team, I don't give a shit about that tag team.
I still think they have some of the best entrants, though.
Yeah.
You know,
But
and
let's be honest, I have a feeling that the Young Bucks are going to drop the titles to Private Party because, again, they've been in a feud and there's always that payoff. That's just wrestling 101.
okay, so then we pan out to outside and Cesaro. Sorry, I forgot his name in AEW, and their young boy showed up, and or no, excuse me, Maria Shavira showed up, and then Cesaro and Wheeler Yuta attack Private Party. Mox tosses Chuck Taylor in the ring. Orange Cassidy comes out the ring, but it's too late to save Chuck, and that's the end.
You know what? This was dumb. These wrestlers are all grouped together in one spot, waiting for Moxley and BCC to come in, right? And it makes these guys look really fucking dumb because, like, you do realize that there's other entrances, right? So why would you spread apart? To me, if they did it that way, and then they pan to a door where a couple of the guys just got the shit kicked out of them because they were up behind, that would actually make more sense. Um, and the whole beatdown, it's like, again, if you want me to stay interested, I want to know why. Um, and I know I say I like slow storylines to give a substance, and that's what they're doing with this storyline, right? But at the same time, you have to give us some crumbs too, to be like, oh, let me see what's gonna happen next because of this, right? So far, all we have is just them just jumping a bunch of people. And that's it. So
You know, you know,
I'm not saying that I've given up on it, but I'm starting to lose a little interest in it.
you know. This just occurred to me. You know who they need?
Who?
They need Raven. They need Raven backstage booking some of these matches because if there's not one guy that can come up with some great storylines, it's
Yeah.
Raven. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
and to be quite honest, I didn't really care for the character of Raven, but I know this guy's just a matchmaking maniac.
Yep. Yep. That's true. Now there has been rumors that Ronda Rousey is in talks, and there's rumors that she's going to be joining BCC if she does indeed come to AEW. Again, these are just rumors. We'll see what's going to happen. Now, look, I know that there's going to be some AEW fans that's going to watch this and, oh, blah, 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 crying. Look, guys, I am a AEW fan, 100%. You can mark and vouch that there was a time that I didn't even watch WWE. I didn't start watching again until Triple H was able to get put in control and Vince McMahon left because at that point, WWE was just terrible. I loved AEW when it first started, and I still love AEW. But just because I love them doesn't mean I'm not going to be honest about the product that, the things that we're seeing right now. So I don't want to hear you crying and you're bitching. You have to be honest. And this just wasn't a great show. Again, generously, I give them a C. What would be your grade, Mark?
You know, I kind of enjoyed it. You know, like again, I can suspend my disbeliefs or whatnot, and I can enjoy it for what it is. You know, but it wasn't extraordinary by any means. So I'd probably go B minus C plus somewhere in there. Um, because
A B
I'm
minus, and this is why Mark's opinion doesn't count. Joking.
right. You know, but you know, like you, I back AEW 100%. I enjoy WWE. You know, I'll catch TNA when I can. You know, but you know, I really am a sucker for the underdog, and AEW is obviously the underdog. You know, I think they really need to watch um, who they bring in and how much they're bringing in for, because you're still there to make money. You know, you could sign your Monets, who I don't think has done a dime for him. You could sign, your Shelton Benjamins, who I think can make a dime for him, but um, a lot of these guys are coming over for a bigger paycheck and a smaller workload, and I don't blame them. You know,
Right, right.
I mean, someone comes to me and wants to double my income and I work less, I'm there.
No, and this is the thing, Mark, and this is something else that's driving me crazy is and this is on the side of WWE with all the WWE fans talking about, oh, well, look at AEW, all they're doing is booking WWE people who are leaving, and that drives me nuts, and I tell you why. Let's talk about fucking football. If someone gets dropped from a fucking team, right? They're not just going to be like, oh, well, I guess I'm not playing football anymore. No, they're going to go to whatever team that's going to pick them fucking up. Why can't this be accepted amongst fucking professional wrestling, right?
Because
It's
it's not
okay.
30 promotions.
Yeah, right. So that whole argument with WWE fans, it drives me bonkers. I'm like, are you like really able to think logically about this type of shit?
You
You
know,
know, the
I,
whole
I
reason why I want AEW to really, really succeed, and TNA and in the NWA even, is because of one, and I've said this over and over again. I love professional wrestling. The more out there, the better for me. But it's also better for these people who are going and giving up so much of their life to perform for people, right? They deserve to be able to have options when their contracts are coming up so they can negotiate, or for whatever reason, if they get dropped by one promotion.
right.
So,
And I guess I'd like to see NWA come to the dance a little bit more. I realize that they're a smaller promotion, and the lead singer from Smashing Pumpkins only got so many resources. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but um, I was happy that he picked up NWA. I know he tried to buy TNA at one time, but that fell through.
right.
Happy he picked up NWA. I'm a huge sucker for NWA.
I
They
am
could,
too. I grew up watching it.
yeah, they could put spaghetti on a plate and I'll watch it. I don't care. And unfortunately, not that I know of, I don't know of NWA being in this market.
Right, right. Well, I tell you what, you know what NWA does have? They have the very first female third generation wrestler, which is Sammy Starr, who was the daughter of Baby Doll, and Baby Doll's mom was also a professional wrestler. So in the women's division, period, amongst professional wrestling, period, Sammy Starr is the very first third generation wrestler. And she's amazing. She
No,
is.
she's not.
I encourage
Not
everyone to go watch YouTube and watch her.
no, Rock's daughter was the first. Ava.
No, I'm talking. No. Ava is a third generation. I'm talking about the very first female third generation, as far as her mom was a wrestler, and then her mom's mom was a wrestler, right? The Rock's daughter, yeah, she is third generation,
No,
but
she's
it's because
fourth.
of her dad, or fourth generation, but it's because of her father and her grandfather, right? I'm talking about women who came from other women
Oh,
being the
all right. All right.
first
Yep. I
third
got you.
generation.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All
Yep.
right. I see the
Yeah.
correlation now.
Yeah. So anyway, that wraps up. Ring the damn bell. Bart, do you have anything?
No, I think we covered everything, buddy.
All right. This coming Thursday, possibly. I've gotten the thumbs up. I have a young lady that's going to be coming on who trained under Dustin Rhodes. I'm not going to drop her name just yet because her schedule's really busy. She's going to try to make it to the podcast this coming Thursday for an interview. Once she confirms, I will drop the name. But be watching for this because she is also a phenomenal talent. But anyway, we will see you guys on Friday for the review. I'm sorry. From now on, we're going to be doing our reviews the day after. So we will be back Saturday to do Friday's night SmackDown's review recap. Until then, thank you for watching us and supporting us. We have a few people that are supporting us. Please subscribe to our to my YouTube channel. Mark, thank you for giving up your time that I know is very important to you. Giving me an hour away from your family. I appreciate that. But until then, guys, everyone has a great night. And again, please subscribe to our channel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.